फिक्रों को दिल से हटा खुशियों का लेके तू पता दिल के परिंदे ले जा वहाँ जाहिर जहाँ से होना दर्द में उड़ जा रे बन के हवा ओ हमनवा.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hollywood star couple Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones in conversation with Hindi cinema actor and producer Anil Kapoor. Please put your hands together.
India, it's a country that's very close to our hearts.
We came the closest to develop and working on a project that was going to be actually shot here in India. And I was one of my first visits here about 8 or 9 years ago.
I'm a big Bollywood fan. I think because I knew I would have loved to have done a Bollywood movie in my career. Anyway, so anybody out there who wants to cast me.
So do you plan to visit any of the cities?
We do, Anil. Unfortunately, we're not going to share our plans of where we're going in India here, but we do have plans to visit, take advantage of this nice invitation.
मेरी जान मुंबई मेरी जान
The film which is going to get Best Film Award, Kanchivaram, which was produced by Shailendra Singh.
Welcome to Shailendra Singh, Joint Managing Director of Percept.
The man at the helm, Asia's biggest music promoter.
Shailendra Singh, brand manager from the Percept Picture Company.
So please welcome Shailendra Singh. शैलेंद्र जो है लगभग 72 फिल्म प्रोड्यूस कर चुके हैं, 2000 से ज्यादा एड फिल्म बना चुके हैं. ये राइटर भी हैं, इन्होंने फीचर फिल्म भी डायरेक्ट की है, शॉर्ट फिल्में भी बनाते हैं. सनबर्न जैसा जो म्यूजिक फेस्टिवल है वो भी इंडिया में लाने वाले ही हैं. बॉलीवुड स्टार्स और स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन का टैलेंट मैनेज भी करते हैं.
Rolling action.
When I was a teenager, I grew up with Michael Douglas on my walls in my room. He was just not a great actor for me. I think there was something very magical and mystical about him. And I looked up to him in a manner that inspired me in many ways.
So several years ago, I came to India to scout for a movie. I was thinking about doing a sequel to Romancing the Stone. And I was going to do it on the train that goes from Jaipur up to Delhi. But it didn't make production sense. But I was able to make contact with Shailendra Singh through a mutual friend who lived in Mumbai.
At that time, I was making one Bollywood film a month. And so it was a very hectic time for me in the motion picture business. And at that time, I got to know that Michael wanted to make the sequel to Romancing the Stone, which is Racing the Monsoon in India. And that's how we met. And I think our first meeting itself for the motion picture in India just was magic. It just hit it off.
And that was the beginning of a wonderful relationship with a guy that is dynamic, has a lot of friends, and loves his brother. I will always be very grateful for this friendship. And then later on, after I was in Mumbai, Shailendra came to Los Angeles. I was able to take him out to a couple of restaurants that we had.
And boom, I was in Los Angeles. And on the first day that I'm, there, Michael Douglas came to visit me himself at my hotel. And we met at the lobby and we had a couple of drinks in the bar. I mean, that itself, him coming to visit me in my hotel was magic, period. But then we had a couple of drinks and that evening became one of the most memorable evenings of my life. And there he was as a friend, taking me around Los Angeles and giving me the best time of my life. That evening, forget about the restaurants and the wine and the interesting people that we met, but the fact that he was actually driving himself. He was driving me around in his own hometown. And for me, that was a dream come true.
And lo and behold, we came back to Delhi for the Hindu Times Summit meeting. And after that, I said to Catherine, let's go to Mumbai. You've never been, and I think I've got a little surprise for you. And that surprise is named Shailendra Singh. And I think he's going to show us a pretty good time. And he did.
Namaskar. Welcome to Mumbai. I will be your guide for this very special reunion of extraordinary friends. Shall we begin?
I was super excited to meet Catherine Zeta-Jones, Michael's wife, and that too, here in Mumbai.
What had Michael told me about Shailendra? What can I say on camera about the dear man? Well, first of all, he told me, I know this fabulous, crazy Indian guy. So I can't wait for you to meet him. And that sounds terrible, but he is actually a fabulous, crazy Indian guy.
When I met Catherine for the first time, I just felt the sparkle of the universe in a living being. There's a sense of restless, positive, infectious, creative energy about her. And it just hit me straight here.
What I love about him, he's everything that Michael said he was, in that he has the most amazing, contagious energy. And even when you're jet lagged from a long flight going over to India, you don't care. It's just contagious.
Michael may think that he's a good friend of mine, but for me, being the traditional Indian, Michael was already family for me. And the fact that Catherine, which is his wife, in India we call, she would be the bahu of our family, coming home for the first time meant the world to us. After Michael had given me the most memorable evening in Los Angeles when I was there, I mean, when I had to curate and plan and create this memorable evening for not just Michael this time, but also Catherine, it had to be special. And when you say that the evening has to be special, it had to start from the beginning. So from the time I picked them up from the Taj Mahal Hotel in Colaba, and then starting our journey from the Gateway of India, it was just magic, 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 magic.
The foundation stone for the Gateway of India was laid in 1911 to commemorate the landing of King George V and Queen Mary at Apollo Bandar. Completed in 1924, the gateway stood as a symbolic entry for viceroys and the new governors of Bombay. Today, it is a monumental memento of British colonial rule over India and welcomes the millions of tourists that visit it each year to the city of Mumbai. You are now entering the Bombay store. Incorporated with an idea to promote Indian-made products during the turn of the century, the first store was founded by some of the greatest Indian patriots and business luminaries of the time. The first store was inaugurated on 17th December 1906, and you can still find an eclectic collection of sacred idols, rural handicrafts, and contemporary artworks, all proudly made in India. On your left, you can see the Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, previously known as Victoria Station. With construction beginning in 1878, the structure fuses Victorian Gothic Revival design with Indian palace architecture. It has 18 platforms, and it is estimated that over 3 million people pass through the station every day.
When I visited Mumbai, I just thought, wow, it's going to be just a really big city, like a lot of Indian cities are big. India is big. But what I loved about it was the culture. The preservation of the areas of culture were just spectacular. And of course, Mumbai, like every city in the world, has just grown and grown and grown and grown. But the core of Mumbai is just really special, and it hasn't lost its flavor. It has the hustle and bustle of a city, but it hasn't lost its culture, and it hasn't lost its individuality, even though it is the metropolis of India. And I just loved it.
And then I had to take them to my favoriteest spot in Mumbai, the oldest also, the Babulnath Temple. Babulnath Temple is not only special because it's the oldest spot in Mumbai, but I happen to go there on the 1st of January at sunrise every year and start my new year from Babulnath Temple. So it's really nostalgic.
Babulnath Temple is one of the oldest temples in the city, its limestone walls intricately carved with scenes from Hindu mythology. Back in the day, when Malabar Hill was simply verdant pasture lands, a cowherd named Babul witnessed one of his cows wandering away each day to release all the milk from her teats on a specific spot on the ground. He was perplexed. Digging in the soil, he uncovered a large shivling, or abstract representation of Lord Shiva, made of black stone. The Babulnath Temple was built on that very spot and milk is still poured on the shivling to this day.
I had a few days of just really finding some special places. Emotionally, I was at the temples, and I was able to not just pass through, but to really have the time to learn about the certain gods and to find my own connection to the certain gods and to learn about the culture and the religion and the peacefulness of it. And I was very, very touched by that and inspired by it.
And from there we went to the largest laundry in the world, the Dhobi Ghat in Mumbai.
You are now witnessing Mumbai's 140-year-old open-air laundromat, Dhobi Ghat. It is estimated that 500,000 articles of clothing are sent here each day. Each item is labeled with a code, a vastly efficient system that ensures each piece gets back to its respective home, hospital, or hotel.
By now, obviously, all of us were really hungry and worked up a good appetite, so we drove to my favorite restaurant in Mumbai, The Table. And after a nice, lazy, fantastic lunch at Table, I could realize that Michael and Catherine needed some rest. So we took a break that afternoon and let them nap a bit.
So we're in Mumbai, and we asked Shailendra to pick a spot for dinner, and we expected maybe a nice restaurant, Indian possibly, in Mumbai, hopefully. So we thought maybe he's just going to look for an out-of-the-way kind of place.
But it went, he kept saying that, I hope you don't mind the drive. And I thought, look, we're in India. I'm sure, people don't mind driving in India. And so we went, and we went, and we went. And then we started to go into an area that didn't look like it had many restaurants. And I thought for sure that we were going to a very authentic Indian restaurant, something that any tourist would never know about. And I was really excited about that.
And boy, were we surprised.
Obviously, I lied to Catherine and Michael that we were going to this really fancy restaurant in Mumbai, but it had to be home.
Athithi Devo Bhava is a concept found in the 6th century BC Vedic texts. Translated from Sanskrit, it means, treat your guest as God. It was guidance to treat any unexpected visitor to your home with reverence and care, as you never know from where they have traveled, or if they are, indeed, an actual god. In modern times, Indians still believe strongly in Athithi Devo Bhava as a code of conduct in society. They are well known for their hospitality, welcoming visitors and tourists with open arms. And if it's family that is visiting, they pull out all the stops.
After that, we pulled up another surprise. We took them upstairs and we knew that Catherine is a huge fan of Bollywood, and particularly the film called Om Shanti Om. So we had these massive cutouts upstairs in the room of Michael and Catherine as Shah Rukh Khan and Deepika Padukone with their heads and the whole gear, and they were like, woof, what is this? They took pictures with it. They were like really surprised that we created an entire sort of advertising campaign of Om Shanti Om, taking away Shah Rukh and Deepika and putting Michael and Catherine.
Oh my God, this is a dream. I know that scene. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh my God. Are you ready? Yeah. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, are you ready?
I want these home. I want to get it.
Let's stay there.
Oh my God.
The miniature versions for you to travel with.
You have to.
So, excuse me.
Oh my God. Oh. You have no idea.
I don't know. We are really overwhelmed.
We're gonna go for dinner now. We tried to create a special cuisine with my friend Amar Jog and his team. Which was cuisines from all over India, because they couldn't travel to many places, so we bought the food of India onto one table.
So the whole evening Shailendra put together was an unbelievable surprise. The moment we arrived and the dancers came out and the drums, and we went upstairs and it was Shailendra and a lot of his best friends in a party celebrating our visit to Mumbai.
After that, they thought this was it. It wasn't. We stepped out on the terrace and we had fairy lights, and guess what? That evening it was full moon. Magic again. We flew down one of my favorite, amazingly talented Sufi singer with his assistant from Jaipur, the Palace of Jaipur. We flew him and his assistant down to Mumbai just for that night. And they were all set, and right behind them was the full moon, and the whole terrace was full of fairy lights. And we had a couple of drinks, we ate some food, and he played some great tunes. He was smart enough to play a few sort of Western tunes with Indian instruments. And he also plays an instrument which is called the santoor, which obviously fascinated Michael and Catherine. So that was quite... This is Ray's Bhai. So I want to explain.
How are you? Very nice. Very nice to meet you.
This is Catherine, Michael, Ray's Bhai.
So nice to meet you.
We have come from Jaipur, special for you.
Oh,
we love
it. Thank you.
So this is an instrument which is like maybe 5 people in all of the country can play it, right?
Yes.
Okay. First time he's ever traveled out of Jaipur from the palace. He plays only in the palace. And I said to him that this is a special moment. He flew down now. He leaves at 4 a.m. He flies at 4 a.m.
You are amazing.
So just for you. Come on, have a seat. Now you got to enjoy. Come on, let's go. Nice bye. made them turn around their seating arrangement, and the door opened, and Shamak Dawar and his troupe came onto the terrace and performed the Bollywood dances for Catherine and Michael. And they were like, you know, obviously Shamak wasn't there, but his entire troupe, you know how they are, they're full of energy and fully dressed up in Bollywood style, and they were performing for Michael and Catherine. They were shooting the videos. It was all happening, full energy, and there was so much entertainment.
And I say this in all honesty, I often thought, wow, if I'd been born in India, I would have loved a career in Bollywood. That's what I excel at. That's dancing and singing. I got the chance to do that on film in Chicago, but I watched a lot of Bollywood movies growing up as a kid.
Where I requested Catherine to dance to Om Shanti Om, which I knew, and obviously the world also knows, that's a favorite film in the world.
I became obsessed with Om Shanti Om when that first came out, and I showed it to my kids numerous times. I had the soundtrack, I had the DVD.
And there's a dance that she performs to at home. Whenever she's most happy, she dances to that song. So we played that song, we got the troupe to go back, and she took center stage. When she danced, I promise you, I mean, Shamak's troupe are really experienced professionals who dance in Bollywood. She killed it. She killed it. And it was amazing. It was amazing not just for us to watch Catherine dance to Om Shanti Om on our terrace in my home, but it was also fascinating for Michael because I saw him, boom, putting his camera out and shooting that moment.
फिक्रों को दिल से हटा, खुशियों का लेके तू पता, दिल के परिंदे ले जा वहाँ, जाहिर जहाँ से होना दर्द में, उड़ जा रे बन के हवा, ओ हम नवा, उड़ जा रे बन के हवा, ओ हम नवा.
To dance that night came up, I just could not refuse that opportunity. And to work with those real Bollywood dancers, and it was just a real treat.
My wife is your new choreographer.
For sure, for sure.
Shailendra says, why don't the two of you get married, remarried in a classical Indian wedding? And I said, well, I'd be lovely, we don't have the clothes. Here's the clothes. We don't have, and then we put all the clothes on. I said, but there's nobody here to marry us. By the way, this is a Hindu priest. He can marry you.
The most special moment for me that evening was the Indian traditional wedding done by the Indian priest, Pandit Vikram. Because while this ceremony was happening, the few friends that we had, everybody had gathered, and there was a sense of unconditional bonding taking place between the unknown guests and Michael and Catherine. But beyond that, there was a moment where I felt that there was sparkle in both their eyes. Because, the Indian traditional wedding has something that signifies that not only you and she will be together for this lifetime, but you both will be together for 7 lifetimes. And I know that they didn't understand what the Indian priest was saying and chanting, but I felt that they both felt that energy. I mean, I spotted it. I don't know when you watch that moment, whether you'll be able to capture it, but I felt that they committed to each other in that ceremony for many, many lifetimes to come.
The ceremony wasn't sanctified, but because weddings are such a huge part of Indian culture, I really wanted them to experience the magic of one.
Honey, you look amazing.
आप दोनों का स्वागत है इस संस्कार के अंदर। आप दोनों का संस्कार विवाह संस्कार है, विशेष जिम्मेदारियां और विशेष जीवन की इच्छाएं। मम व्रते ते हृदयं दधामि, मम चित्तम ते अस्तु, मम वाचमेकमनाजुषस्व प्रजापतिष्ठा न्यूनत्तु मह्यम्। हम दोनों एक दूसरे से वचन लेते हैं कि हमारा मन, वाणी, विचार और भाव हमेशा एक रहेंगे और दोनों का आदर करेंगे। स्वस्ति न इंद्रो बृहस्पतिः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः मनसा दूरम दिशः अनुभव मानो वा हिरण्ये पर्णो वैकर्णः सत्वा मन्मनसां करोतु शिवा अरिष्टा पतिलोकं गमेयम् हे दंपति त्वां आयुष्मान ओजस्वी तेजस्वी वर्चस्वी विद्यावान तेजवान भोजवान बलवान धनवान बुद्धिमान श्रीमान श्रेष्ठवान आयुष्यवान
up with us. This is very, very kind of you, Shailendra. Thank you, Nayana. Thank you very, very,
Thank you.
very kind of you, and thank you very much. Thank you.
This has been so.
So that was it. We got there and we looked at each other. We started getting very kind of dreamy, very touched.
Well, it was, first of all, our dress was just so beautiful. It is, the Indian wedding is so incredibly beautiful and ornate. And so everything fit us. We put it on. It felt like we were in a bit of a movie, but we enjoyed it so much. It was so touching. It was so great, and surrounded with, Shailendra's and his wife and his friends and his son, and it was very real, and we were very touched by it. Well, when I was growing up, I always wanted to go to India, always, and when you dream about something and you have a vision of something and you have such great expectations, when you actually go to a place like Mumbai, I was just so thrilled that it was up to all my expectations and more. I just love the Indian people. I love the Indian culture. And to
You love the Indian food.
I love the Indian food, but to see a city and a country through the eyes of a native, and you get to see it in a way that you don't as a tourist, and you feel very welcome, and we just loved it. And the only regret was that we didn't have our kids there.
The colors, the energy, the food, and the hospitality. It's a unique place. Everybody tells you that before you go, but you really have to absorb it. And to be connected to people who actually live there, and to be able to go into the homes and share was something very special. The whole evening that we had at Shailendra's house, we went up on the roof, and you could see on this terrace on the roof of his house, and then all the high buildings in Mumbai all around. It was something very special. And the music, love it.
This experience of us connecting in Mumbai, which is Catherine, Michael, me, and my family, it went beyond just an evening. It went beyond entertainment, experience, food, drinks. And I say that because I always believed in this, and I, through this experience, feel it. And I truthfully feel it, which is that we are all different from the outside, but we are all same from the inside. And our hearts beat the same way. It's just that when we open our hearts, that's when we really find the real honest connect. And that's what I felt when we had Catherine and Michael home. And I feel that connect is going to last for many lifetimes.
And his excitement for his country and his pride for his country. And he was just the most amazing host I could ever have wished for. Also, he's just a really great guy. He cares. He's very caring, philanthropic, very successful businessman, but also just successful in life. He's just a really great human being and a great citizen of the planet.
And the story doesn't end here. Yes, Michael and Catherine have gone back home, and I've gone back to my life. They've gone back to their life and their profession. But there's one dream still left undone, which is I'm praying and hoping that one day Michael and Catherine will feature in a motion picture that I will shoot in India, and hopefully I'll be the captain of that ship.
Do you look forward to coming back to India, maybe, to do a movie?
Always. First of all, I want to bring my family from Wales, who have never been to India, over. But for us to do a movie together there, it would be the best, because we feel like we've been adopted by India. We've just had the best time there, and to be able to do a movie together would be special. I hope he wants to work with me. I certainly want to work with him. And we just got to find the right project. We tried before, but we'll find something, and we're definitely coming back. And I know on famille, all our family, the kids, we all want to go back there, and it's such an immense, diverse country. We've seen a tiny bit of it.
Hold on, India, we're coming back.